Well, very good afternoon to you and welcome back. This is session 8 of the 2024 Scottish National Age Group Championships. So third afternoon of heat swimming for the youngsters. I'm Duncan McKinnell, and joining me in the commentary box this afternoon is Lina.
Yeah, Lynn Alderton. Yes, I'm delighted to be here. I think this is the only stint I'm getting, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be a good fun session here. We've got a nice busy program with a whole range of strokes from 50 up to 1500. So lots to keep us entertained. There is the lineup for you. So we start off for the male and opens with 200 backstroke. We'll watch out for Nikolai Sisnet, who has had a very strong start to these championships in the 14 age group. Also got the Hamilton Dubai swimmers who are making an impact, and Khan Akka will be going in the 13 age group in that one, and so look for that. That's heats for that, with the final later on in the evening session. We follow them with a heat declared winner event, the 400 freestyle for females. This one should be a good one, I think. Amber Hinton, Cleo Helton. How do you see that working out, Lynn?
Yeah, looking forward to that one. No finals, of course, so all to play for this afternoon. Yeah, that'll be an exciting one.
Yeah, and the 13-year-olds as well. Abby Coventry, the Morpeth-based Scot, is having a super championships, and she'll be up there with her teammate Lucy Raper as well, I would think, in the 13-year-olds in that 400 freestyle. Then we go to the 50 freestyles, male and open, followed by the females. So blink and that will be done. Should be some good races there. Another of the Hamilton swimmers, Fabio de Armas Porfidio, is the fastest ranked swimmer in the 14s. Just the 14-year-olds swim in the 50 freestyle. We sort of ease them into the 50 events. They don't swim the form events until they're 15, and the 14-year-olds just do the 50 free, and the 11 to 13s, they have to wait till they're a bit older.
Yeah, I'm particularly looking forward to this because it is the first time that we will have seen any of our 14-year-olds swimming just the one length of the pool. That's the only chance we get in the afternoon, so that's why I'm, like I say, particularly looking forward to that, and it may throw up some swimmers that we've not yet seen.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Then, of course, we've got the 100 breaststroke after that from the male and opens. Rudy Vick won the 200. So he'll be good. He'll be looking for a double up on the breaststroke. And then 200 butterfly and 1500 freestyle, 2 heats to finish off with in that 200 freestyle. So some of these swimmers will be having a busy session this afternoon.
Yes, and it's just a couple of hours, so they've got to fit a lot into just a couple of hours, or 2.25 hours, I think we worked out it would be, didn't we?
So you saw the lineup there for the first of our heats. This is heat number 1 out of 6 heats of the 200 backstroke. Just go through the lineup for you. Lane 0 is Kieran Naismith of Bells Hill. 1 is Hamish Black of South Ayrshire. 2, Blair Tetlow from Geary. 3 is Felix Broom of South Ayrshire. 4, Andrew Fernando of Warrender. Caleb Gray goes for Finns in 5. Daniel Volkov, University of Aberdeen Performance in 6. Oliver Bielonski of Aberdeen Dolphin in 7. And Adam Gibson for Geary in lane 8. Not a lot separating the entry times on these swimmers, 2:46 up to 2:49. So it should be a good competitive race to get us going. How do you see it working, Lynn?
I don't know. I mean, nice start from Daniel Valkov, University of Aberdeen performance swimmer, but Adam Gibson from Geary, so a couple of North District swimmers, has come up to join him as we come up towards that first turn.
Yeah, let's see who does get the touch at the turn. It is Daniel in lane 6. You see up there, you can see a good shot of how they work out. And it's always tests our camera crew when we've got swimmers all across the pool contending for this, but it is the narrow advantage at the 50 for Daniel, 37.73. Coming up nicely in lane 4 is Andrew Fernando, the fastest entry time, 2:46.2, East District Age Group champion.
Yeah, Kieran Naismith also going well in lane 0. It's actually quite nice to see the camera angle here, because when we're doing the commentary in the arena, we can't see lane 0 terribly well. But yeah, still with Daniel Valkov, 1:18.91.
Yep, and Andrew Fernando is close. Kira Naismith, as you said. We had a lot of good swims from the outside lanes this morning, so see if that trend continues this afternoon. Picking up nicely now in the yellow cap is Blair Tetlow of Geary. So he is moving up pretty nicely here in this third 50. Andrew Fernando maybe just edging into the lead now ahead of Daniel Volkov. But we've got a three-way contest as we come up to the 150.
Yeah, we quite often see a second half that is quite strong from the swimmers from Geary, so it's interesting to see Blair Tetlow moving through there. In fact, he got the touch on the wall there, and I wouldn't expect him to give that up coming down the final length, because like I say, it tend to be a strength of the Geary swimmers. Having said that, Daniel Volkov is coming back nicely in lane 6, our early leader.
So good, exciting race to get us started this afternoon, and certainly Blair Tetlow is looking strong here. It's going to be him versus Daniel Volkov. Andrew Fernando just a little bit back, about a body length back, and I think it's the Geary swimmer who's got the edge here in lane 2. Is he going to get the touch? It's pretty close as they come in. Ooh, Blair gets it by a tenth. 2:41.96 against 2:42.06. So some great times from those two. Caleb Gray coming in very strongly, gets third place. Oh, in fact, that is corrected with Andrew Fernando. I did think that Andrew Fernando was third, so that is confirmed. But Blair Tetlow with a great second half there, and that was a nice improvement on his entry time of 2:48.
Yeah, nice to see that. A nicely paced race, I thought, there from Blair Tetlow. So 2:41.96 the time to beat for this second heat, and I see they're doing side-by-side starts again.
Just keeps things moving along. So the lineup for heat number 2, we have Angus Donald for Warren de Baths in 0, Nathan Zorrell of Dumfries in 1, Daniel Rose of Aberdeen in 2, Fraser Vass of Highland in 3, Oren McLeod of First in 4, Jensen Busketer in lane 5 for City of Glasgow, Matthew Turner of Warrender in 6, Yassin Hattab of Dumfries in 7, Andrew Liu of Steprock in lane 8, and Austin Graham of City of Leicester in lane 9.
Yeah, nice start from Fraser Vass in lane 3, but he's been moved past by the swimmer in lane 8, Andrew Liu. We saw him yesterday, he was quite busy, wasn't he, from Steprock? So it's Andrew Liu to the wall first, 36.13, and Daniel Rose came through into second place. Daniel, an Aberdeen swimmer, he was third in the North District age groups that we held recently here in the Sports Village in Aberdeen. Nice turn though, and the starts of the second length there from Andrew Liu, Steprock swimmer. They're swimming in fact, all of these swimmers are in the 11 to 13 year age group. But, he's moved ahead about a body length.
Yeah, winner in the 200 fly already, so showing his versatility here, going well in backstroke, and he turns 1:16.06, nearly 3 seconds faster than the first heat at the halfway mark. Andrew Liu, 4th in East District Age Group Championships. Steprock, of course, based in St Andrews in Fife. And they swim in the East District. And he's got quite a sizable lead here with Oren McLeod in lane 4, Daniel Rose in lane 2, and Yassin Hattab in lane 7, the 3 behind Andrew. Not sure they're going to catch him though. Coming up to the 150 turn, still Andrew leads. You see the intimate splits there, and you see Oren going slightly faster than Andrew, but he's a second and a half behind still. So he'll have to really push it hard to put in a serious challenge. Let's see if he can do that.
Yeah, you'd expect Andrew Liu to hold it on towards the end, wouldn't you, if he's the winner of the 200 fly. But it does take it out of your legs on those backstroke legs. Really hard work, especially down the 50-metre pool. It's a surprisingly long way when you're used to turning at 25 metres.
So he still has the lead, and you see there, but it's a narrower lead than it was at the 150. So it's a really strong finish from Oren McLeod, but Andrew Liu holds on to take it by half a second, 2:35.92. So Andrew, again, a big improvement on his entry time, which was 2:43. So these youngsters really pushing it out here. They'll have been rested for this meet. The big meet for these youngsters. Go up against their peers from all over Scotland. Some of them won't have raced each other before, so it's a new experience. They'll be uncertain about what the others can do, and just creates that element of uncertainty, which is always good, I think, just so that put them on their toes. Just waiting for a confirmed result on that one. So hopefully we don't have any disqualifications, but let's just wait a moment and we'll find out.
So with your knowledge from the East District, Duncan, where would step rock swimmers train? Do they manage to train in long course pool?
No, no. They have a nice short course pool in St Andrews, but it is short course. They can go to Glenrothes also. It's a nice short course pool, but I don't know whether they get any time in Dundee. I doubt they do. That would be their nearest long course pool.
Right. And of course that's been shut for a prolonged period,
Yes.
although it's now back open again. I think that was a confirmed result there.
Yes, it was.
So on to our next heat then, Heat 3. In lane 0 we have Ross Winters from East Lothian. In lane 1, Tyler Morris, Stirling Swim. Lane 2, Jack Kiverlan from Wren 96. In lane 3, Finley Duffin, Warrington Baths Club. 4, Blair McCarroll, South Ayrshire. In lane 5, Julian Ockrodge from Delting. In 6, Jack Morrison, Cumbernauld. 7, Ryan Crabb from Wren 96. Lockie Bullough goes in 8 for Shetland, and in lane 9, Struan Henry from Dunfree. So we've got people from all over the country really in this one, haven't we?
Yeah, great start in lane 8. That's Lockie Bullough, the Shetlander. He's off like a bullet there in lane 8. He's look at that. Good full body length, clear of the rest of them. He was a finalist last year. He is 14-year-old, got a mixture of 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds in this heat. So let's see if Lockie can hold this together. Certainly made his presence felt off the start there. 35.11 is a second faster than the previous heat. Julian Ockrodge second, Ryan Crabb third.
Yeah, good work off the wall there for Lockie as well. So, I mean, 35.11 is pretty nifty, isn't it? I mean, his entry time is 2:39. So, in fact, all the entry times are really, really close on this one. There's just a second separating everybody on paper. He's still looking good. Closest to him maybe in 5 in the water.
Yeah, it does look like they're coming back at him now. Led by Julian Ockrodge in lane 5 from Delting Dolphins. So the Shetlanders going well here. Delting, of course, also in the Shetlands. And there's not a lot between them. I'm sure they will have swum against each other in the past. So 1:15.75 now is only a little bit faster than Andrew Lou's time from the previous heat. And now just 2/10 between the two of them at the halfway mark. And you see they're coming down just about together. Also lane 0, that is East Lothian's Ross Winters going well. And lane 7 is Ryan Crabb of Wren 96.
Yeah, they've got a good competitive programme up in Shetland in terms of their competition that they manage there. They've got a great pool there. It's a 25-metre pool, but they have a pretty comprehensive programme. They can't be coming to the mainland all the time in order to compete with everybody else. So they manage quite a lot of competitions in Shetland itself. And yeah, so yeah, they will be used to swimming against each other, I'm sure.
So Lockie has certainly found another bit of pace there in that third length. It looked like Julian was catching him up in the second length, but then Lockie moved away again in the third. So it's quite an interesting race here. It's not often you see it like that the early leader gets caught and then moves away again. But, well, fair play to Lockie Bullough. He responded to the challenge, and it looks like he's going to see this one home. Coming down towards the finish, he's good body length clear of his fellow Shetlander. So not often you see Shetland teams 1 and 2 in a race at national level, but that was good to see with Lockie 2:33.32. So another cracking improvement on his entry time. Julian as well, putting in a good shift there. 2:34.59, and then Ross Winters from East Lothian in third place, and he's also inside his entry time by around about a second.
Yeah, just 6 more 13-year-old swimmers to come as well in the final heats that we've got. So Julian Ockrodge is looking good there for a place in the final. So this is heat 4 then. In lane 0 we have Ethan Nolan, Warrington Baths Club. In 1, Max Corcoran, South Ayrshire. Lane 2, Murray Johnston, Wren 96. In lane 3, Logan Wright goes for University of Aberdeen. Lane 4, Angus Woods from Kintyre. Adam Selby goes for Finns in lane 5. In lane 6, Brogan Smith, Glenrothes. 7, Charlie Braid, Wren 96. Zach Weatherhead from South Aberdeenshire goes in lane 8, and it's Thomas Valkliutz from Heart of Midlothian in lane 9. This is a cyclically seeded heat, so we would expect to see most of the fast swimming going on in the middle, but you never can tell. I know you were telling me that you'd seen some really fast swimming from the outside lanes this morning, Duncan.
Yeah, but this time it is going with the centre lanes early on anyway. Angus Woods and Adam Selby. 33.75 for Angus from Kintyre, so based in Campbelltown. So they have a long trip wherever they go to swim against other teams. So they're looking good here, Angus, with Adam Selby, Finns. That's a Kirkcaldy-based team. Then we've got two swimmers side by side there in lanes 2 and 3. So they are pretty close there, and that is Murray Johnson in 2 and Logan Wright in 3. Coming up to halfway, 1:10.40. So you tend to see the 14-year-olds dominating the races here. So we do have some 13-year-olds. So Brogan Smith, already a gold medalist in breaststroke in the 13s, down in 7th place at the moment in lane 6. But the advantage very much with Angus Woods. So he's looking to bring this one through the next about 170 metres or so.
Yeah, he's got a really long and rangy stroke. I didn't see him at the Scottish Schools. I see that he came 3rd down there. And that's quite an achievement, really. It's a big event. It was held, where was it held this year? Was it in
East
Dolan?
Kilbride,
Yeah,
yep.
so in Dolan this year. So it's quite a trek. At 1:10.40 at halfway would suggest that he's going to come in. Oh, he's got to 2:25.38 was his entry time, and he's looking pretty good to be around and about that, isn't he?
Yeah, nice still head there as he comes in. A little bit sort of wobbling around the lane a little bit as he comes in, but he's going to be inside the 2:25. Yes, 2:24.75 takes the win. So that's a bit more than half a second improvement. So maybe more to come in the final, because I'm sure he'll have booked himself a good lane with that. Adam Selby 2:28 in second place.
So he's around and about his entry time as well. So some good performances here this afternoon.
And just waiting for the confirmed result to come up on the screen. So maybe some chat about something going on. Last time there was no problem, and again we've got no problem. Logan Wright taking 3rd there, 2:29.73.
So there's the starters for Heat 5. In lane 0, Ollie Jeffords, Ren 96. 1, Andrew Patterson, City of Glasgow. 2, Nebi Sengula. 3, Alexander Brown. In 4, Sky Kabunchai. In 5, Khan Akka. 6, Daniel Letham. 7, Austin McCall. 8, Samuel Ruff. And 9, Billy Trapp.
So Khan Akka, the last of the 13-year-olds. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do in lane 5. He's off to a cracking start. You can always tell the Hamilton swimmers, bright orange caps. The only other people with the colour caps is Stranraer. But Khan is really taking it out here. Remember, a year younger than the others. So we'll see what he can do here.
Yeah, but they quite often visit us, don't they, for our Scottish national age groups, and it's great to see them here. They certainly add an element of the competition, particularly in the younger age groups, and it's lovely to have them here.
Yes, I was talking to Kathy Johnson yesterday, who many will remember as one of the top breaststrokers in Scotland, and now is coaching in Hamilton, the Hamilton Aquatics Club, and she's saying they're in a little bubble there in Dubai, and it's a sort of closed community, mainly expats, and it's very good to get out of that bubble and get them swimming against people that they have no idea what they can do. And certainly Khan is thriving in that environment. 1:10.92, not quite as fast as Angus Woods in the previous heat, about half a second back, but remember he is a year younger, and he is leading Sky Kabunchai, the local swimmer from University of Aberdeen, bronze medalist last year. So the two of them well matched here, and they are quite a way clear from the 3rd place contest. That looks like it's between Alexander Brown in lane 3 and Daniel Letham in lane 6. You can see them coming up towards the wall there as we watch the leaders turn. Still Khan with the lead by about 6/10.
Yeah, and there's nothing in it on the splits actually between the first three either. It's interesting you should say about Catherine Johnston, because we all saw her in the, I was working down in the glass house yesterday with the timing suite, and we saw her and we thought, we know who that is. We know her name is Catherine, when we just couldn't remember what her and we knew she was a breaststroker, but we just couldn't remember her name, so it was nice to have that confirmed. Thank you. And he's really stretched away, hasn't he, down this final length. So looking really good, coming in towards the finish. Yes, really good final length there from Khan. Yeah, and you can see that on the splits there. The final length was a second faster than the swimmers around him, Sky and Alexander, so 2:26.08. So that'll be the top seed in the 13-year age group.
That's a given, I think. He is 3/10 faster than his entry time as well. So Sky takes second, Alexander Brown third. One more heat to go. And
the aforementioned, you mentioned him in the lead-in, didn't you? Nikolai Cisnet, who we've already seen looking really good in the water. So in the water we've got, are we going to read through all the names, Duncan? They flash up on the screen. Shall we read them as well?
Yeah, give them a...
Right, yeah, so in lane 0, Max Buchanan, Renfrew. Lane 1, Max Kelly Geary. Lane 2, Luke Jackson from Hamilton Aquatics. In 3, Logan Moffat, Bells Hill. 4, Nikolai Cisnet, City of Glasgow. In 5, Blake Hartman, Inverclyde. In lane 6, Luke Thompson, Bathgate. 7, Jasper Broom, South Ayrshire. In lane 8, Richie Saunders, Warren de Bath Club. And in lane 9, Adam Calder from Brock. And the last 8. And look at that start from Nikolai Cisnet.
Yep, already has gold in the 100 backstroke, along with 200 fly and 400 free. The only breaststroke where Nikolai faces serious competition and tends to avoid those events. 31.82. I'm sure we'll see him in medley though later on. We haven't had any medleys for the youngsters yet. Still 2 more days to go, of course.
Yeah, and I mean, that really was a cracking start. And look, he looks really relaxed in the water there. You can just see a tiny splash from his feet. We might see a bit more, I guess, later on as he's having to work a bit harder. But his entry time is a good 14 seconds faster than everybody else's. So they're really going to have to swim out their skins if they're going to get close to him. 1:10 was the fastest we've seen so far. That was Angus Woods, wasn't it? So turning over there, 1:07.25. So I suggest that is a pretty relaxed Nikolai Cisnet that we're seeing just now. Lovely swimming.
And Blake Herdman turning in second place. He had a pretty awful start. I suspect he might have slipped off the ledge when he started, because he came out of the water way behind everybody else. But fair play to him, he's recovered well, and now edging past Logan Moffat into second place. As you said, Lynn, he's way behind the leaders. The leader, Nikolai Cisnet.
Yeah, it'll be deceptive for the swimmers that are battling it out for second place there, because they're actually not that far off the pace of the previous heat. It's just that Nikolai is so far ahead of them. But there's a nice three-way battle going on in second place between Blake Herdman and Luke Jackson, Logan Moffat, and they're swimming nicely. But Nikolai Cisnet, they're just coming in towards the final 15 metres, and you can see a little bit more of a splash from his feet as he's getting in towards the finish. Be interesting to see what time he goes. 2:11 was his entry time, so he's going to be outside that, but he doesn't need to go any faster. 2:18.39. Good job.
Yeah, we were having a discussion this morning about speed in the heats and whether you can take it easy because you know you're going to qualify, whether you push on. And certainly when the swimmers get older and they know that they're going to be up against tougher competitors when they go down to Sheffield for the British, if they make that those times, then it's a good practice to get in some fast heat swims, because there will come a time when you need to do that. But
I think for these swimmers swimming in the afternoon, though, they have only got a fairly short session, and some of them are really pretty busy. So we're moving on to the 400 freestyle and the females.
We are, and we've got 5 heats in this, and this, I think I mentioned earlier, it's a heat declared winner event, so you only get one shot at this. You don't swim heats and finals. They've taken the view, the organisers, that that's not appropriate for these young swimmers, and I think that is absolutely right. The older swimmers, 15 and above, do swim heats and finals, but this is one and done.
So 5 heats. This is the first one. In lane 0, Ellie Mayer goes for South Lanarkshire. In lane 1, Isla Russo from Renfrew. Emily Taylor, South Lanarkshire in 2. In lane 3, Isla Hannah from Perth City. Lane 4, Katie Aitchison, Warrender Bath Club. In 5, Sky Petrie, Monifeith. In 6, Amy Horsburgh, Glenrothes. In 7, Ailsa Chand from South Lanarkshire. In lane 8, Charlotte Shanks from Bells Hill. And in lane 9, Esme Anderson from Aberdeen Dolphins. And it looks like we've got a bit of a delay. So all these swimmers, 12, 13 years by the end of the year. So I suppose there could be some 11-year-olds in there.
Yeah, there could be. So we've got 3 12-year-olds. Isla Hannah, Ailsa Chan, Charlotte Shanks. Oh no, not Charlotte. Amy Horsburgh. No, not her either. God, learn to read, McKinnell. 2 of them, Ailsa Chan and Emily Taylor, got there eventually.
And they've been quite busy, actually. I certainly seem to have seen Emily Taylor and Sky Petrie in a lot of events, but I'm sure they're not. Oh, and Isla and Hannah as well. I say these swimmers, the afternoon sessions are a bit shorter.
Yeah.
And a lot of the swimmers are entered into a lot of events, so they are super busy.
Yeah, of course they do recover quickly, the youngsters, so it's good for them to do a busy program, just really test themselves. So we do seem to have a little bit of a delay here. The swimmers are waiting patiently at the start. I'm not quite sure what the issue is, but we'll be back, I'm sure, very quickly. Right, we have additional swimmer. There's a bit of a mystery swimmer coming up into lane 9.
And yet we have a swimmer in lane 9 on our start list, don't we?
We do. Esme Anderson, Aberdeen Dolphin. Is that an Aberdeen Dolphin cap? I think it is.
It is.
So hopefully that will all get resolved. There we go. There she is. Pride of place at the bottom of your screen. Esme. And she's on the scoreboard in the venue as well. So hopefully that means we're good to go. Now that the referees have resolved that little quandary.
We've had remarkably few glitches. I couldn't even spit it out.
We've had glitches.
We've had a few glitches, yeah. We've had remarkably few. I mean, when you consider that there's over 1,000 swimmers here at the meet, and there's always little gremlins around, aren't there? So it's actually worked extremely well with very few delays.
Touch wood.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
No broken lane ropes like they saw in London last week.
Yeah.
Keep fingers crossed that everything is smooth. They do look after us really well, the team at Aberdeen Sports Village, absolutely on the ball all the way through. So off we go. The entry times in this first heat range between 5:12 and 5:20, so around about an 8-second spread. Katie Aitchison has the fastest entry time, and she leads them through the 50. 8 lengths of the pool, of course. Certainly in the East District, the 400s are swum short course in East District Championships, but I think in the North and the West they do get the opportunity to swim long course at this distance, so they'll maybe have a slight advantage over Katie on that count.
Well, a little bit of experience. I mean, there are other opportunities. We just swim them once in the North. I think that there are more opportunities in the West potentially. Although we have a competition here towards the end of the month, run by the run by the home club by the University of Aberdeen, and it is a completely different experience swimming this long course, and a lot depends on whether or not the swimmers have had the opportunity to train in a long course pool as well.
Yes, and certainly Katie, as Warrender swimmer, will have had the opportunity to train long course at the Commonwealth pool, so that shouldn't be an issue for her. But it is Emily Taylor, who we were talking about her earlier, and she's off to a strong start, the youngster. So 12 this year, and she's up by over a second and a half over Katie Aitchison. So nice strong start from her.
Yeah,
And
she's mostly been swimming in early heats, but she's been at the front of those early heats because she's been swimming so well. Of course, she will, as a South Lanarkshire swimmer, I assume, get the opportunity to train long course. I'm not sure which is her home club.
not sure. Can't remember whether it's Lanark or East Kilbride. It's one of the two. Well, it might be Hamilton, but I don't think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm sure somebody will.
24.
And looking good out in front there, so her lead almost 3 seconds over Katie Aitchison. I mentioned the swimmers that have been busy, certainly recognise Katie's name as well, Warrington Bath Club swimmer, and she's looking pretty good there in second place. Maybe 5 metres back, 4-5 metres back, just over halfway.
Yeah, Sky Petrie and Amy Horsburgh having a good contest for third in lanes 5 and 6, so they are, what, 2-3 metres behind Katie, but Emily has a good solid lead here coming up to the 250 turn. Nice close shot of her as she comes in. 3:06.91, a 38.6. You can see they're faster, nearly a second faster than Katie, Amy, and then Sky a bit slower than that.
Yeah, so just half a second more her lead increased by. Showing good discipline there. I mean, she is breathing sometimes every 2, sometimes every 3, and she'll have discussed a breathing pattern with her coach, I'm sure. She's extending her lead through the swim.
So with your coaching experience, Lynn, would you encourage them to change that breathing pattern towards the end of the race, perhaps when the oxygen is starting to be in short supply?
I think when they're this young, they're probably just going to go for what it is that they end up with. But certainly over the shorter distances, yeah, you would try and do that. It's most important to do something so that when they come into their race, they're doing something which is familiar and that they've trained and practiced to do. And different coaches will have different ideas about it, and that's part of the joy of it, is that it's about your swimmers and your relationship with your swimmers and what it is that they need as individuals. But she, like I say, still breathing every 3 some of the time is great discipline. It's probably less interruption to her stroke cycle, breathing every 3 than it would be every 2. But she's working hard and she's still looking good, although having said that, Katie Aitchison also moving well through the water.
Yeah. She's going to be close to 5 minutes here. So we have had confirmation that she is Lanark.
It's one of the joys of saying things online, isn't it? Is that somebody will let you know, which is great, and it's nice for us to know that as well.
It's great to know someone's listening to you as well. So that's a great swim. Emily coming in there, 5:00.99, so massive PB, and another excellent swim from the South Lanarkshire swimmer. Katie Aitchison, 5:05.43, so also well inside her entry time of 5:12. And Amy Horsburgh winning that contest for third, 5:11.03 for the Glenrothes swimmer, so she improves on her entry time as well, as does Sky Petrie and Ailsa Chan. So some really good swims there in that first heat, but 5:00 puts down the marker for this next heat, and there's your lineup. Ava Smith for Geary in 0, Ava O'Neill of Carnegie in 1, 2 is Georgia McLeod of Dundee City Aquatics, Emma Patterson, City of Glasgow in 3, Abby Henderson, South Lanarkshire in 4, Connie Hart, South Ayrshire in 5, Katie Ray of Geary in 6, Amy Rimmer of Bellshill in 7, Emmeline Eales of Kingston Royals in 8, and Millie Searle, a third Geary swimmer, going in lane 9. Good start from Amy Rimmer in lane 7, and also Ava O'Neill, the Carnegie swimmer, in lane 1, Carnegie based in Dunfermline. So let's see who gets the turn. I think it will be lane 7, Amy Rimmer, 33.19 for her first 50. Well, pretty competitive behind her. You see there just about a line of swimmers starting to push on in lane 4. The swimmer with the fastest entry time, another South Lanarkshire swimmer, Abby Henderson. As we see, in fact, no, it's lane 3, isn't it? Emma Patterson who is making the running there. But I think it still will be Amy Rimmer, the Bell Sill swimmer. I learned something new yesterday, that the difference between North Lanarkshire and South Lanarkshire is one is north of the River Clyde and the other is south of the River Clyde. So there you go. I never knew that.
Well, I'd have guessed one was north and one was south. But that was as far. It's closing up now, isn't it? So Amy Rimmer being caught by a whole host of swimmers over here on the near side. Ava Smith, Geary swimmer, Ava O'Neill, two Avas, Georgia McLeod and Emma Patterson.
Certainly a much tighter contest than the first heat here. It's got, what, 5 swimmers, all much of a muchness there, so ranging 150.2 to 151.4, the top 5. Ava Smith now in lane 0, where we talked about these outside lane swimmers, and Ava Smith has got the bit between her teeth there in lane 0. Behind her now, Georgia McLeod, the Dundee City Aquatic swimmer, distinctive dark pink cap worn by the Dundee team. And then either side of Georgia is Ava O'Neill and the early leader, Emma Patterson. This a terrific second 100 from Ava Smith, 2:28.77, so slightly back on the first heat, half a second back at the halfway mark, but you see there, 38.5, much faster on that 50 than anyone else. So can anybody else make a move in the second half? You've got that line of 3 there, lanes 1, 2 and 3. And they are maybe just ahead of the 2 swimmers up at the top of your screen, lanes 7 and 8. That's Amy Rimmer and Emmeline Eales, the Scot up from Kingston, down in the south of England. Nice to have all of these Scots making their way up to Aberdeen for this event.
Ava Smith looks like she's got the bit between her teeth though now, doesn't she? Let's say a strong second half. That does seem to be characteristically the Geary way. Still closest to her, the City of Glasgow swimmer Emma Patterson.
Yeah, but not very close now, because this is very much Ava Smith's race now. And certainly what you were talking about, the Geary program certainly coming through, being evidenced here. So this is a super swim from Ava. Let's check on her split here, 3:46.32. Still very much of a muchness with Emily Taylor's time from the last heat, but that means that she's going to be heading for not far away from 5 minutes, entered 5:11.
Yeah, and that 5:11 swam at the North District Age Group Championship, so that's actually when she swam her time, and that was, I believe the girls swam their 400s at the most recent meet, so that would have been at the beginning of March, and there's a significant improvement even in that month since we had that competition. It was here at the beginning of March.
It is amazing how quickly they can make real progress from meet to meet, relatively close to each other. Partly of that will be the adrenaline, I suppose, of coming to a national event.
That could be preparation, you know, Duncan.
That too, yeah. We'll put all the credit onto the Geary coaching team and on the swimmer herself, Ava Smith, who obviously has been really doing good work in training. What a race we've got behind her. Lanes 1, 3 and 8 all very close, but this is Ava Smith who's going to bring it in. An excellent swim, 5:02.21, so a nice PB. Who gets second? It is Emma Patterson. She's had second most of the time, not by much, and again it gets second, not by much, from Ava O'Neill in third, and Emmeline Eales just behind her in fourth place. So 5:06s and 5:07s for that group, behind Ava Smith's 5:02.21.
Yeah, it was a race of 2 halves, really, wasn't it? I think it all kind of changed at around the 200-metre mark, but good swimming. I mean, they're still all very young. We're just starting to see a couple of 14-year-olds appearing into the mix here. Saying that, in the next heat, we've got some 12-year-olds again.
Yep, Maddie Markell of Guildford City is the youngster in this heat that's coming up. Alice Renfrew of Perth City in 0, Lula Milne of City of Glasgow in 1, Grace Renfrew, Perth City in 2, so the two Renfrew girls, just one lane apart. Brooke Stevenson of South Esher in 3. Eve Palmer of West Lothian in 4, another 12-year-old. Then we've got Rebecca Mailing of Bells Hill, Maddie Markell of Guildford, Olivia Davis of Midlothian, Imogen Jarrett of Dundee City Aquatics, and Eva Gordon for City of Glasgow. All fairly tight coming up to the 50. So who's going to get the touch? It's Maddie Markell, one of the youngsters, only by 500ths.
Yeah, it's very close on entry time. Fastest time 5:02, and the outside lane's 5:04. So there's not a lot in it on paper. You mentioned the Renfrew girls from Perth City, twins, younger sisters of Catherine, who we've seen this morning, and obviously enjoying their swimming as well.
Yep.
And doing well at it too.
And doing very well at it. So it looks like it is Rebecca Mailing who is going to just have the edge at the 100, 1:09.33, half a second up on Maddie Markell, and so this is close, a bit faster than we've seen, about 2 seconds faster at the 100. Right on Rebecca's shoulder is Maddie Markell, so lanes 5 and 6 side by side here. Maddie, as I said, got up from Guildford, is the Surrey County champion in this event.
And I see her entry time 5:02.76 was swum when she won that event. Where do they swim? Surrey? Is it Surrey? 50-metre pool in Surrey? No, I don't know either.
Certainly they did swim at long course, I can tell you that, but I don't know where.
It'll probably be Guildford, you know.
Well, there you go.
Yes. Yes.
Ah, what a fan. We have our super sleuth giving us all the answers here, and we confirm it was swum in Guildford. So let's see how this is going to work out in the second half. We had a tale of two halves in the last event. What's this going to happen? 2:26.89, Rebecca Mailing. Just still very close, just 2200ths ahead of Maddie Markell. The two of them stuck together there in lanes 5 and 6, and still right there with them in lane 8 is Imogen Jarrett of Dundee City Aquatics. Nobody really making a big change here. We are seeing Grace Renfrew. Certainly has the jump over her sister at the moment in lane 2, and she's in 4th place there. You can see closest to the camera. So through the 250, Rebecca Mailing's led all the way. It was a 2/10 lead, now it's a 3/10 lead.
Look at the splits though for those first 5 swimmers. They're all pretty much of a muchness. It was pretty similar through the 4th 50 as well. So I think if somebody's going to make a move out to get themselves well out in front, they're going to have to change the pace a little bit, because it's all very similar at the moment. They could be waiting for the last length, of course. Who's got the legs at the end?
Yeah, very tactical race, isn't it? The 400 freestyle. There's different ways to swim it, and these two swimmers have been side by side the whole way through. It has always been Rebecca Mailing with the narrow advantage. She's opened that up a little bit more, over half a second now, as they go into the final 100. 3:44.27 against 3:44.85, and then another half second back to Imogen Jarrett. But now it does look like Maddie Markell has made her move. And also keep your eye on Grace Renfrew in lane 2. She is moving up. I think she's into 3rd now. Here comes Rebecca Mailing fighting back. So coming up to the final turn, I think this might be our tightest race so far in this afternoon's heat. So Maddie Markell with the lead. See that, a 36.9, a second faster than Rebecca on that 50. And that's given her a half second lead. But who's got the speed down this final 50? It does look like Rebecca is the favourite, but keep your eyes still on Grace Renfrew in lane 2. She is probably the fastest in the pool at the moment, and she is coming up really strongly, the Perth City swimmer. Rebecca Mailing trying her best to stay with it. Who's going to get this one? This is tight. I think it might be the Perth swimmer, but it's going to be on the touch. Who gets it? It is Grace Renfrew. by
Wow.
5/100ths of a second. Look at that, 34.8 on her final 50. Well, she left that late.
She did leave that late, but you could see the turn of pace, and the splash that was coming from her kick was absolutely phenomenal. And that was 3 swimmers underneath the 5-minute mark, which is always a nice barrier to break. So well done those 3, Grace, Maddie and Rebecca. Really good racing.
Yep, so we'll see where that puts them in the overall rankings. Got Grace in the 14 age group, plenty of 14-year-olds to come. We've only got, let me see, 5, 6 is it? 13-year-olds still to come. So off we go.
Is this heat number 4?
It is heat number 4.
Already. In lane 0, we've got Amy Rowell from City of Glasgow. In lane 1, Caitlin Morton, City of Glasgow. In lane 2, Maddie Poole, Warren de Bath's Club. In lane 3, Sarah McQuire from Dumfries. In lane 4, Annie Hutchin, Stirling Swim. Lane 5 sees Gracie Haddow go for South Ayrshire. Maya Loon from Eithin, up in Ellen. In lane 6. In lane 7, it's Amelia Burrell from Glenrothes. In lane 8, Lauren Dunlop, Dumfries. And in lane 9, Rebecca Reid, Warren de Bath's Club. We saw Rebecca Reid, I can remember. It was quite a memorable swim in the 1500. So it's good to see her in the 4 as well. Out in lane 9, but it's lane 5, isn't it? No, lane 4.
Yep. Annie has had some good strong swims in this one, so she is one of the remaining 13-year-olds. There's a silver in 200 backstroke. Probably her highlight so far. But she leads the way here, 1:08.74, about 0.6 faster than previous heat. Entry time 4:55. 4:55.00, so I suspect that might be a converted short course time. Lane 7 is looking strong as well. That is Amelia Burrell of Glenrothes.
Yeah, Annie Hutchin looks pretty comfortable out in front though, doesn't she? She's you can't see too much splash from her legs, there's just a bit, and she's managing to get a little bit of underwater work off the turn as well. I'd say, she's not a Stirling-based swimmer, is she? She's representing Stirling here for this meet. But yeah, just 13 years old.
Yep, so a bit of blind swimming going on, but we're moving back into what we could see clearly now, that Annie Hutchin is leading the way by about a body length still from Amelia Burrell up to the halfway mark. So we were 2:26 in the previous heat, so 2:23 in this one. So we've moved up by 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds from the previous heat. Amelia Burrell is about 1.5 seconds back. So she is sticking in there, the Glenrothes swimmer in lane 7, and then there's a bit of a gap to lane 6. That's Maya Loon, the Eithin swimmer from the northern parts of Aberdeenshire. Ellen, yes. Ellen. So
on the River Eithin.
On the River Eithin, okay. 3:01.13. So still in touch, Amelia. Just 0.7 back. Does look like it's going to be these two deciding it, and well, Amelia will have to make a move pretty quickly if she is to challenge, because it does look like Annie Hutchin is opening up the gap a little bit more now.
Yeah, the splits on the 50s were 37 mid on these, and they were 38 in the previous heat. So I'd expect that it's 3:44 we saw in the previous heat, so we'd expect that to be more around 3. Oh well, they've done it, haven't they? I was going to say under 3:40, but yeah, so 3:38.
And again, there's another 0.5 second or so picked up onto the Annie Hutchin lead on that last 50. So it's looking pretty good for her now to bring this one home. So just over the 1:15 for that last 100. So we're looking, I think, for her to get under her 4:55 entry time by maybe 3 or 4 seconds. Amelia is still bashing away there in lane 7. She is not giving up the fight at all. talking to the Glenrothes coach, Craig Holmes, and he's highly delighted with how his team have been going this week. And certainly Amelia is keeping up the Glenrothes end here very well. She is continuing to push hard, but Annie Hutchin, who's in a year younger, is going to bring this one in. Looks like she will be the fastest 13-year-old going into the final heat. So here she comes by about a body length. She brings it in 4:52.45, so it takes 2.5 seconds off her entry time. Amelia 4:53.31, so that's a nice 4-second improvement as well. And Sarah McQuire takes the third spot, the Dumfries swimmer, putting in a good finish there, 4:58.95, and more swimmers under the 5 minutes there. 6 of them, because a good number of them did have entries under the 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's a good marker that Annie Hutchin has lain down. There's 4 13-year-olds in this final heat, so 4:52.45 is their target time. I'm sure they'll just be hoping and going for, planning whatever it is that they did to go as quickly as they can, rather than just trying to get underneath the 4:52. But that is the target that Annie Hutchin has set, and it's well, it's a good one. It's a good one. So
yeah. So the lineup for this final heat: Sarah McGuffey, she is 13-year-old for City of Glasgow in 0. Then we've got 14-year-olds, Evie Chan of Ren 96 in 1. Honor McCarty of City of Glasgow in 2. Alice Harper, also of City of Glasgow in 3. And Amber Hinton of Dumfries in 4. Cleo Houghton, also from West Lothian, in lane 5. Then we've got another 13-year-old, Lucy Raper of Morpeth, in 6. Daisy Gilday is a 14-year-old from City of Glasgow in 7. And then the final two 13-year-olds are Abby Coventry in lane 8 and Charlotte Craig of Ren 96 in lane 9. So the two Morpeth swimmers have had very successful meets so far, particularly Abby Coventry, who goes in lane 8 here. 2 goals to her name so far. Should be a good race in the 14-year-olds as well. Amber Hinton won the 1500 and is a lovely distance freestyler, and she has the lead over Alice Harper, Lucy Raper and Abby Coventry, just 500s apart, the two Morpeth 13-year-olds. So that is going to be very interesting. So 1:06.63 was the Amber Hinton split, and the two girls, the 13-year-olds, in the low 1:08. So they were both faster than Annie Hutchin at the 100 mark. So 2 things to look out for here: the overall race with the 14-year-olds, Amber and Alice, and then the pacing of the 13-year-olds. And it's Abby Coventry who's now got a 4/10 advantage over her teammate Lucy Raper in that contest. Doesn't look that much as you look at them in the pool there. Here we see Amber coming down towards the 200. Absolutely beautiful distance freestyler, and 400 is right up her street. Behind her, Alice Harper was the champion last year. She beat Amber last year, but she'll have to do something special in the second half if she's to do it again this year. 2:17.08 for Amber, 2:18.85 for Alice, and then a line of 3 there. Abby Coventry does have 3rd place, and Lucy Raper, our fellow 13-year-old, now about a body length behind her. In between them, Daisy Gilday, who's the 3rd 14-year-old in lane 7. There, what a glorious freestyler Amber is. 34.5 there, a split. Look at that compared with Alice and Abby. The second, well, more than a second and a half faster. So she is stretching away now.
yeah, she's very consistent as well. I mean, her stroke doesn't seem to change throughout as well. I guess we saw that in the 1500. I see they're both Youth Academy members, and both in the West, I guess. It's interesting you say about Alice being the champion last year. Amber Hinton was the Scottish Summer Meet champion. So it'll be really interesting to see who qualifies for what this year. The British Summer Meets, so that's the British Championships, and the Scottish Summer Meet as well, decided Probably on the results of this event, actually. I mean, I know that there are other long course opportunities available potentially to both of these swimmers, but it'll often be the April meet that decides where people are in the rankings. Looking really smooth out in front there, Amber Hinton.
I love her arms in there. It's just absolutely perfect positioning into the water. And 4:00:87, just under a 35 there. So her entry time 4:41. She's going to be nicely inside that. And it's a good point you raised there, because it's not just about winning this race. It's also about getting a good position in the British rankings for the summer meet in Sheffield. And Amber, I think, will have done exactly that. Remind me, do those 14-year-olds swim with the 15-year-olds?
No.
No, they swim on their own, do they?
Yeah, it's 13, 14,
13,
I think.
14,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Thank you. 4:34.61 then, so that's what, 6.5 second improvement on her entry time, so cracking stuff there. Look at this race for the 13-year-olds though. Oh, just a 10th between the two Morpeth girls. Abby Coventry does it again. But Lucy Raper was coming right back at her. Look at that, 34.2 on her final 50, but just finishing a 10th shy on her teammate. So they will be the two leading 13-year-olds. What a cracker from Lucy Raper there, but just couldn't quite get past her teammate in the end. So Abby Coventry does it again.
There'll be good learning from that, though, because maybe she could have gone just a little bit earlier, but you don't know that until you give it a shot.
Yeah.
Well, so we're down to the other end of the pool now. Have you? Well, we haven't got time. I was going to say, have you done the points? I don't think you have done the points.
We haven't done the points, no.
No, but I don't think we'll have time to do the points before we get cracking with these 50s.
They are available on social media. I can tell you that City of Glasgow have moved into the lead ahead of Warrender, who were the leaders after day one. So good two-way battle there, and there's a very tight contest going on for third as well between East Lothian and South Lanarkshire. Of course, the points don't get calculated on a daily basis because you can only score one of your events, your best event. So these swimmers who are swimming multiple events, they only get to count one for the team points competition. Of course, the relays are also very important in the team competition. Double points for relays. So if you can, then it's good to field a strong relay team.
So when do we have the medal presentations for that 400 freestyle? Is it after the 50s? I can't remember.
I guess when they all line up and ready to go, and we'll notice. It was Sarah McGuffey getting the bronze in the 13-year-olds. Behind the two Morpeth girls. And I can also tell you that in the 14-year-olds, well, we know who won it, and that was Amber Hinton. It was Alice Harper second, and Daisy Gilday we'll see taking the bronze. So as you said, we go on to the 50s now. This is the first, just the three heats here. As I say, just the 14-year-olds, no 12 to 13s. Boyd Fernside, Luke Jackson, Rory Vick, Alex Holmes, Austin McPherson, Alexander Brown, and Oliver Hodzic. And it's a three-way battle, it looks like, in lanes 3, 4, and 5. Rory Vick, Alex Holmes, Austin McPherson locked together as they come down the pool. And maybe it's the Glenrothes swimmer, although I wouldn't like to call this. Ooh, no, it's Austin McPherson of Geary, who just touches first by 400s, 25.94. A close one.
Yeah, so cyclically seeded though, because we've got finals for this, but that's faster than the fastest entry time. So putting himself in a very good position there, Austin McPherson.
27.3 to 25.9. Shouldn't be allowed, should it?
They're growing though, aren't they? 14-year-old boys, they do grow. So heat 2, Stepan Nastiuk, Finley Johnson, Leighton Bonner, Harry Cook, Fraser Muir, Lance McMahon, Angus Woods, and Tealach Adam. And oh my goodness, that's not going to be the same, is it? Harry Cook, Aberdeen Dolphin swimmer, fairly storming down that lane. Straight arms. We've been watching Ben Proud and but that's a really good swim there. 26.13. But he was out on his own. That's quite interesting, isn't it? Because Austin McPherson definitely had a race on, and 25.94 still the fastest.
Yep, Fraser Muir second there, and Angus Wood's third. Angus Wood's second swim, we saw him earlier in the backstroke. So the third and final heat now, so just the 3 circle-seated heats here. Line up Alex Cantley, Cameron Jolly, Brodie Lydon, Fabio De Armas, Nebi Sengula, Tyler Morris, Cameron Masson and Hugh Bridie. So Fabio entered 26.1, so we've seen these 25.9 and 26.1s so far, winning the first 2 heats. Look at Fabio, he has moved into the lead off the dive, just ahead of Nebi Sengula in lane 5 and Brodie Lydon in lane 3, and it does look like Fabio, the Hamilton aquatic swimmer, is going to bring this one in. Can he get inside 25.9? We're certainly pushing it out hard here. What's the time going to be? 25.7, so he will be the fastest qualifier for the final. An emphatic victory in that heat, over a second ahead of Nebi Sengula, 26.91, and he was just 200ths ahead of Brodie Lydon. So, didn't waste a lot of time on the boys. Male and Open 53.
That was over in a flash, wasn't it? Interesting though, 25.94 Austin McPherson for Geary. I'm going to comment on that one because I know Richard McLaughlin, the head coach at Geary, says, "Oh, we don't do sprints," but that that was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah. So on to the females now, and in this one we've got Ksenia Mann, Ara Gill, Amelia Burrell, Gracie Haddo, Maya Loon, Connie Hart, Ailey Fee, Imogen Jarrett, Christina Angelakis and Kimberly Cameron. Well, this is a closer one. Lane 5, it looks like Connie Hart perhaps just with the edge. Again, we've just got the 3 heats here, but it's going to be close, but I think it will be lane 5, Connie Hart of South Ayrshire. See what her time is, 29.06. So she improves by 0.3 on her entry time. Maya Loon's second, Gracie Haddo was third.
So just the 3 heats again. Nice result there.
Of course, we do just have the 1 age group. No surprise that there's fewer heats.
So in the second heat, Evie Chan, Casey Dixon, Kalila Smith, Hannah Lafferty, Nadia Lim, Freya Keeling, Alice Harper again, Hayden Holmes, Heather Clubb and Caitlin Kirk.
Yeah, so not much rest between that 400 free and this 50 free.
Nice warm up.
Just a little pause here while these swimmers just have to wait patiently on the blocks.
That's the medalist for 11-13-year-olds.
Not sure what that delay is for. The girls are all ready.
There.
Thank you very much. We do have, I think, a couple of them will be doing the
Yeah, we've got a bit of a mystery swimmer in lane 2.
Well, maybe that the reserve has gone in. So we just got to wait for this start to come.
Yeah, so is a Warrender reserve, Iona Robertson, so that might be Iona that has got a place in lane 2, but I think they're just waiting for confirmation as they do put them in. If the swimmer doesn't appear in the call room and there's a reserve present, then they are offered the place, and that could be what's happened here. And they just need to sort the paperwork out, make sure that the correct time is put against the correct swimmer. So just pausing for that as they go. So 29.06 we saw in the first heat. We are seeing times, well, Lily Mundell who'll go in the next heat, 26.86, and then we've got a 28.2 Nadia Lynn, and there is confirmation, it is Iona Robertson in lane 2. So that is a change to what was on the original program. She gets her chance. Let's see how she gets on with it. So off we go with this second heat. So 29.06 the time to beat. And taking it off nicely, Nadia Lim, who's another of the Hamilton swimmers who are doing well in these championships. As I said, 28.2 is her entry time. Contrasting style, isn't it? Almost the style of a longer event than the 50. These long arms, very powerful, and into the wall in 28.21. That is exactly on her entry time. That's consistency for you.
Yep, very good indeed. So we have a rule whereby only 3 swimmers who are not eligible can go through to the final, but it looks as though there are not that many, and she should be safe to go through to the final.
Yeah, we haven't had to invoke that rule, I think, yet this
No,
weekend.
I'm not aware of it either.
Most of the swimmers with non-Scottish teams are actually Scots, and therefore they are eligible through. It's just the few from Hamilton in particular, I guess, and a few of the Morpeth swimmers. So the final then, heat goes.
Yes, Alyssa Flockhart, Amy Dobson, Daisy Gildy, Caitlin Morton, Lily Mundell, Madison Christophorus, Brooke Stevenson, Amber Niven, Constance Coates and Alana Herbert, and I got that in before 40 metres. But Lily Mundell has said her entry time, 26.86. I'm astonished at that. That's a cracking time there, and she's not going to be much outside that here. 27.28 for Lily Mundell, Heart of Midlothian swimmer. Caitlin Morton getting to the wall second, City of Glasgow swimmer, and Brooke Stevenson in third. So another swimmer under 29 seconds there, Caitlin Morton from City of Glasgow. Good swimming.
Yeah, Lily did that time, very fast time at the Edinburgh International in March, where she was second in the junior final, just going up against swimmers up to 18 in that junior final. So to come second in that was a pretty remarkable performance.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing her. She's doing very well. 26.86, but I'd say not very far behind that time here. So we move on to a medal presentation.
Yeah, looks like it. So we're waiting for the swimmers to appear. I think we've got some of them there.
Well, some of them I think have barely got out of the water from the 50. Oh, we've lost our...
So there is an empty podium, and soon it'll be populated with swimmers. The medalists from that female 11 to 13 400 freestyle. So they'll be up shortly, I'm sure.
And we've had an interesting collection of people presenting the medals, haven't we? So we've had a lot of coaches and some helpers as well. Not sure who is due to present the medals. We'll have a look and see if we can see.
And we're back to a coach, I think, doing
Looks like
these
Laurel Bailey,
presentations.
is
Yeah, Warrender head coach Laurel Bailey is primed to do it. We're just waiting for swimmers to arrive. They've been pretty good getting to the podium in time so far this week, and I think they're just about all there. Of course, some of these 14-year-olds have just come out of the pool, of course, so that's been, I think, probably the issue here, that they couldn't really marshal for their presentation when in the middle of swimming a 50. So now they've recovered from the 50, and of course they've got the added complication that their kit will be at the other end of the pool, so they've got to swim their 50, go all the way up to the other end of the pool, get their kit, come all the way back to the podium, and then they're ready.
I think they should swim back. Swim back, get your kit. It is actually only a very short period of time between the 400 and the 50, isn't it? Because we've only got the 14-year-olds, as you say, and then those 14-year-olds, well, we could have done the 13-year-old one, but I like the way that we're presenting the medals with the age groups combined on the podium.
Yeah. So here we go, and as I said, Laurel Bailey of Warrender making the presentation. Sarah McGuffey of City of Glasgow takes the bronze for the 13-year-olds, and it is her teammate Daisy Gilday who takes the 14-year-old bronze medal. And on to the silver medals. So there's definitely a Morpeth hat thing going on here. That is Lucy Raper for Morpeth, the silver medalist, with that storming finish from her, but not quite able to catch her teammate. There's Alice Harper of City of Glasgow, who takes the silver for the 14-year-olds. And your champions, So Abby Coventry, once again, a gold medalist. A Scot based in Morpeth. And the free swimmer Amber Hinton, with a very nice swim there, takes the gold in the 14 age group. So there are your medalists. It's photo time. You've got to get that photo in. How many style marks out of 10 would you give to those Morpeth caps?
I quite like them actually, and we saw Charlie there taking a photograph. He's our resident Scottish swimming photographer, and he was wearing a very flashy Aquatic's GB cap that he got down in London, which I quite took a fancy to.
I was going to say, I wonder where he got that from.
Yeah, so the logo's grown on me, you know. I quite like it now, and I certainly like the cap and GB Aquatics. I would quite like one of those if you're listening.
So Aquatics GB, you know what you've got to do. Send a tap to Lynn Alderton, courtesy of Scottish Swimming.
Excellent, thank you for that. So what have we got now?
So we have 100 breaststroke for male and open. This is the first of 7 heats. 4 go in it. Cameron Miller of South Ayrshire, Andrew Liu of Step Rock, Callum Preacher of Lerwick, and Oliver Ochterlony, a second Step Rock swimmer. So Step Rock to the fore here. Of course, saw an excellent swim earlier from Andrew Liu.
Yes, he's been a busy boy, hasn't he? And he's looking good here, although the race is very close. On paper, there is, half a second between everybody.
Well worked out.
Yes, well, yes. Yeah. It was my long takeaways and things like that. So Andrew Liu, though, he looked as though it's. Oh, I was saying that it was extremely close. I thought he touched second, but it was 0.02 of a difference. Oliver Ochterlony.
Yeah, and in between them, there's Callum Preacher from Lerwick. So it's Shetland versus St Andrews in this one. And, well, it's going to be tight between Andrew and Callum. Looks like Oliver maybe just a little bit back now as you see them coming towards the camera. Nice view of their stroke from the front. So you never get to see that view on the stands. So get a chance here, and it looks like it's advantage to Lerwick. And Callum Preacher is going to get the touch. 1:28.16 for him. Couple of seconds inside his entry time. Andrew Liu not far behind him, also improves his entry time, 1:28.74. Cameron Miller just edging through to take third.
So 7 heats of this one. Heat 2, we'll see in 0 Blair Tetlow goes for Geary, and 1 Gordon McGregor Kilmarnock, 2 Emmeline Guys from Aberdeen Dolphins, 3 Alexander Beaton Seagulls, in 4 Oliver McHugh Renfrew. Lyle McKelvey goes for Cooper in 5, Adam Gibson Geary in 6. In lane 7, Max Clark, South Ayrshire. His teammate Lewis Riley goes in 8, and in lane 9 it's Lucas Serrells from Heart of Midlothian. Nice start there from the Aberdeen Dolphins swimmer in lane 2. That's Emmeline Guys. Most of the rest of the action at the moment over on the far side.
Yeah, Max Clark looking pretty good. 1 of 2 South Ayrshire swimmers up there. In lane 7, just ahead of his teammate Lewis Relly. But it's going to be the Dolphin, I think, turning first. Emilian 40.39, so about 0.6 faster than the previous heat, and he's got an advantage of about half a second over Lewis Relly. Lucas Serrells in third. Down the second length then. And it's pretty close now. Lane 7 is pushing on nicely, Max Clark.
Yeah, so he was first to the touch, although it was quite deceptive from back here. I'm not sure Emmeline first hand touch registered, but Max Clark looking good now coming in towards the finish, and he's extending his lead, coming through nicely in lane 5. That's Lyle McKelvey, a Cooper swimmer. It's the lane 7 swimmer, Max Clark, who's going to get that one, 1:25.07. So what's that, 3 seconds improvement for him? very good indeed. In lane 2, Emmeline Guys came through to take second place, and Lyle McKelvey was third. So Emmeline Guys was at the beginning and at the end, but nice swim from all of those swimmers.
Okay, we just got a little bit of a pause, but now you've got your result, and unfortunately we do have a disqualification, so that was Gordon McGregor in lane 1 is a disqualification. That doesn't affect the top 3, with Max Clark taking the win. On to heat number 3. Line up here, Daniel Valkov in 0 for University of Aberdeen Performance, Zach Neeson of South Lanarkshire, Thomas Vakulitz of Hearts, Jensen Busquetta of City of Glasgow, Finlay Morris of Inverclyde, Ruben Lees of Warrender, James Glennie of Afford, Luke Todd first, Tynan Baird of South Ayrshire, and Harry Stutchfield from Warrender. Harry Stutchfield, the youngster in this group, 12-year-old up at the top of your screen, the Warrender swimmer, but the strongest start in lane 6, that's James Glennie. You must know this swimmer pretty well.
I do know James. He had an operation just before Christmas, so he's been out of the water, and I think he was delighted to qualify. So really glad to see him here. Coming through now in lane 1, is that? Zach Nielsen, South Lanarkshire swimmer.
Yeah, it's all pretty close here, but let's see who it is. Zach Neeson just getting the touch, 38.97, ahead of Finlay Morris and Luke Todd. And James Glennie close with them. James, I think, must have got a bit of a bad touch there, because it doesn't look like he was in 5th, and he's certainly challenging coming down the second length. There's a number of contenders here. Ruben Lees in lane 5 is pushing hard, lane 7 as well. That's Luke Todd of first, still up there. The halfway leader, Zach Neeson, in lane 1. So let's see who can manage their finish to take this one. I think the advantage is with the Warrender swimmer, Ruben Lees. He's just emerging into the lead now in those last 10 metres. Takes the win in 1:23.18. So good stuff from Ruben. His entry time was 1:24.80, so it takes over a second half on that. Finlay Morris in second, Luke Todd in third.
So this is the halfway heat, isn't it? Heat number 4. In lane 0, Ethan Nolan, Warrender Bath Club. In 1, Jack Morrison, Cumbernauld. In 2, Lance McMahon, Helensburgh. In 3, Finlay McLennan, South Aberdeenshire. In 4, Brodie Lydon, City of Glasgow. In 5, Stuart Thompson, Perth City. In 6, Hayden Simpson, Mulgai and Bearsden. 7, Daniel Rose, Aberdeen. In 8, Finlay Johnson, University of Aberdeen. And in lane 9, Zach Fraser, Wellingborough. All very close on the entry times, yet again just a second on paper covering all of these swimmers. Perhaps strong start in lane 4. City of Glasgow swimmer Brodie Lydon. Perhaps just with his nose in front, and it isn't much more than a nose, I don't think. Turning, in fact, it was Zach Fraser who got the touch out in lane 9 from Wellingborough. Brodie Lydon. Very close between Brodie Lydon and Zach Fraser. I think Brodie Lydon, I did think that he was out in front down the first length, and he didn't quite get the touch, but he does look to be in front at the moment. In 2, Lance McMahon going well.
Yeah, so get a good view of them here. And it's pretty close now between the 3 of them. Lanes 2, 4 and 9. On the touch goes to lane 2, Lance McMahon. So nice strong swim from him. Helensburgh swimmer bringing it in 1:19.99.
Great second length there from him to put himself underneath the 1:20 mark.
Brodie second, Zach third. Heat number 5, Nebby Sengula in 0 for Highland. Matthew Jack of Renfrew Baths in 1, Lewis Bray of Inverclyde in 2, Alex Cantley of South Aberdeenshire in 3, Stephens Nashchooks in lane 4 for Stranraer. Brogan Smith, the Glenrothes in 5. Sam Weatherhead of South Aberdeenshire in 6. Thomas Murphy of Royal Tunbridge Wells in 7. Fraser Muir of Carnegie in 8. And Richie Saunders of Warrender in lane 9. So Brogan Smith in lane 5 was the winner in the 200 breaststroke in the 11 to 13 age group. He is the only 11 to 13s in this heat. It looks like he's just been beaten at the moment by Stephens Nastjuks, the Stranraer swimmer. He was silver medalist at Scottish Schools where he did his entry time, and he turns in 34.29 with Brogan behind him, 35.90, just ahead of Alex Cantley. So this now increasingly is Stephens' race. So as I said, silver medalist at Scottish Schools, bronze medalist in this event last year, and he's certainly setting himself up for a good lane in the final. Lane 2 now is pushing on. That's Lewis Bray of Inverclyde. Talked about breaststrokers from Inverclyde this morning. They seem to have a reputation for producing breaststrokers. Beside him, though, is Alex Cantley. So they are battling for second. Lewis Bray just gets it by 300s, but Stephens, the clear winner there, 1:12.87. That's over a second inside his entry time. So well done, Stephens.
Yeah, and you noticed that he was second at the Scottish Schools from where his time came from. In the next heat, we will see the winner of that event, so that will be quite interesting to see if he can push it on from there. It was delayed, wasn't it, the Scottish Schools finals this year, due to facility issues. Anyway, we're on to heat 6 now, so a second of our cyclically seeded heats. Sky Cow Bunchai goes in lane 0 for University of Aberdeen. Jack Higney from Cumbernauld in 1. In 2, Julian Stott from Carnegie. 3, Austin McPherson Geary. 4, Cameron Jolly, University of Aberdeen. 5, Aaron Machin, City of Glasgow. 6, Ryan Crabb, Ren 96. 7, Michael Gavin, University of Aberdeen. 8, Ethan Buchanan, Saltburn and Marsk. And in lane 9, Ewan Ross from Elgin. Well, we saw Austin McPherson do a cracking 50, didn't we, in the free?
Yeah, we did, and now let's see how things go here. Aaron Machin in lane 5 in the blue, City of Glasgow, and beside him, Cameron Jolly of University of Aberdeen. Looks like Cameron just has the edge. Also keep your eye on lane 7. That is Michael Gavin going well. In fact, he's got the lead, 35.06. They're not as fast as Stephens. They're about 8/10 back on it at the halfway mark, so they've got some work to do in the second half. And it looks like Cameron Jolly is up to the task here. Just pulling away now in lane 4. Behind these top 3, it's the yellow cap of Austin McPherson, where we've seen some great swims from Austin this week. And he is trying to get into the act here. All these swimmers 14-year-olds. So they're all battling away for a place in the final tonight. And I'm sure Cameron will be there, 1:13.91. So that was very close to his time at Scottish Schools, just 2/10 away from it. So you expect him perhaps to get faster than that tonight. So there is confirmation. Aaron Machin taking second. Michael Gavin was third.
Yes, I think those second and third place swimmers look good, certainly for a place in the final, or you would think so. 1:16 was the second and third place swimmers in the previous heat. So this is our final heat of the 100 breaststroke already.
So the lineup in this final heat: Ben Sagenyak of University of Aberdeen in 0, Tyler Morris, Stirling Swimming in 1, Logan Moffat of Belsid in 2, Taylor Adam of Perth City in 3, Rory Vick of Warrender in 4, Fabio De Armas in lane 5 for Hamilton Aquatics, Luke Thompson of Bathgate in 6, Angus Woods of Kintyre in 7, Boyd Fernside of East Lothian in 8, and Max Kelly of Geary in lane 9. So Rory Vick was the winner in the 200 breaststroke, and he is setting off at pace here, 34.51. He was just bronze medalist in that Scottish Schools competition, so he'll be looking to remedy that against Cameron and Stephens when we get to the final. He was the winner in this event last year. Beside him, Fabio De Armas, the Hamilton Aquatic swimmer with a 1:15.0 entry time. So these two well clear of Taylor Adam in third place. And it looks like it's going to be pretty close between the two because Fabio is closing on Rory. Won't get there. Rory perhaps will want to work on his finish there. That was a slightly untidy finish, but 1:13.00. Not quite as fast as Stepan Stashuk 2 heats ago, but he'll be, I think, in lane 5 beside him, and that's going to be a very good final, I think, tonight, that 14-year-old final.
That looks really close on paper, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, I think he didn't manage to finish quite right. But who knows? He's just got to get that right for this evening. And I imagine that that would be half a second without actually doing anything different. But yeah, it will be a really tight field. So that's the first 3 swimmers there, all with nothing between them at all.
Yeah, yeah. And Fabio as well will be very much in the mix along with Cameron and Stepan. So yeah, I think you've got 4 potentially battling for the 3 medals in that one. So it's going to be interesting.
Did you catch who the finalists would be for the 13-year-olds there, Duncan? I didn't keep a track of that.
Well, certainly the fastest Brogan Smith we saw in those.
Right,
that
yes.
was, and I think we go down to Lyle McKelvey, the Cooper swimmer, just sneaking in with 1:26. So if you're faster than 1:26.8 and you're 13, you're in the final.
So next up, female 200 metres butterfly. Actually, there's a good mix of ages there, so definitely everybody is going to have to fight for a place in the final. There's just 3 heats. In the first heat, Orieth Jeffrey from South Lanarkshire goes in 0. Lane 1, Eve Palmer, West Lothian. In lane 2, Neve Bunker from Flitwick. In 3, Freya Keeling, Carnegie. Lane 4, Amber Hinton, again from Dumfries. In lane 5, Honor McCarty, City of Glasgow. Lane 6, Sophia Anderson from Teignmouth. In 7, Eva Gordon, City of Glasgow. Lane 8, Emily Taylor, South Lanarkshire. And in lane 9, Phoebe Simpson representing Geary. So we've got just the 3 heats, so it's likely to see seeded right from the very off. So we'd expect to see the faster swimmers in the middle, but there's all sorts of things can happen in the 200 metres fly. But it is lane 4 just now out in front, Amber Hinton, Dumfries. Saw a cracking 400 free and not that long ago.
Yeah, so I guess here it will be about doing the business to get in the final. Then she'll have some rest time between now and the final, and then looking to pull her socks out. But she's going pretty well here. You wouldn't know that she'd done a 400 freestyle not that long ago because she's pushing it out in this second 50. Be interesting to see the relative 50 split. So you can see that 38.0 gets Freya's 40 point and Honor's 42 points. So really good second 50 from Amber there. She does have form in this 200 fly. Scottish Schools champion, bronze medalist in this event last year. Of course, that's her ranking in this one with 2 more heats to go. But she is pushing this one out very well. I mean, we saw what a beautiful technician she was in the freestyle, and we're seeing very good technique here as well in the 200 butterflies. The coaching crew at the Dumfries must be so excited about Amber. 1:55.26, so that was a 41.5 on that one. So keeping that pace, not quite as fast as the second 50, but still pushing on nicely. And maybe at this point, the 400 is still in the body, but you wouldn't know it really because she is well clear here from lane 3, Freya Keeling, the Carnegie swimmer, who is clear in second. The race is on for third. That could be very important in terms of qualifying, although one of them, Sophie Anderson, is in the 13-year-old age group, so you would imagine that she'd be comfortable to qualify for that final. So 2:34.36 is the time for Amber, very close to her entry time. So on the back of that 400 free, that is a really good performance from Amber. Freya 2:38.37 for her, so that is an improvement of 4 seconds or so for Freya. And Honor McCarty in third, and as mentioned, Sophia Anderson, the 13-year-old from Teignmouth, was fourth there, and 2:44 then is the leading 13-year-old time, with 2 heats still to go.
And both Amber and Freya managed to swim their last length faster than their third, which I think is pretty impressive.
It is indeed.
On to heat number 2 then. Kayla Smith goes for City of Glasgow in 0. Paige Ellis, University of Aberdeen in lane 1, also from University of Aberdeen in lane 2, it's Eve Smith. Charlotte Craig represents Ren 96 in lane 3. In lane 4, it's Alice Pennell, West Lothian in 5, Amy Rowell, City of Glasgow. Lane 6, Katie Ray from Geary. In 7, Christina Angelakis from East Lothian. In 8, Macy Laidlaw, East Lothian. And in lane 9, Sarah McGuffey from City of Glasgow. How do you see this one going, Duncan?
Well, again, we've got a few 13-year-olds, Charlotte, Katie and Sarah, but the action obviously with the older swimmers, and it's Alice Pennell, 35.18. She's been going well, swimming with West Lothian here, but based in Switzerland. Did her time at the Swiss regional meet fairly recently. But it's a good tight contest here. Lanes 2, 3 and 4. Eve Smith is having a good second 50 in the white cap in lane 2, so she's right up there with Alice now, and in between them Charlotte Craig. So this could go a number of ways at this stage. So Charlotte, the leading 13-year-old of that group, Alice and Eve, both 14-year-olds, 1:15.18. So this is not as fast as Amber Hinton in the previous heat. So they need to pick it up, and I think that's exactly what Alice Pennell is doing now. So 2:32 is the time she has entered on, as I said, done in Switzerland quite recently. We now have lanes 5 and 6, Amy Rao and Katie Ray moving up. Amy Rao was the National Age Group champion last year, so she'll have some work to do to hold her crap tonight. But first job, obviously, see. Get my tongue out from my false teeth.
Duncan doesn't have false teeth.
The job she's got to do is to get to the final first. I think that's what I meant to say. Alice Pennell certainly looking set for it, 1:57.80. Again, still behind Amber Hinton, so I think Amber's time will still be the fastest.
Amy Rowell making a move though down this final length. She's certainly closing the gap. I'm not sure she's going to catch her, but it's going to be mighty close as we come in towards the finish. Amy Rowell with a really strong final length. Just getting that one. Well done, Amy. So 38.9 last lap. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? 2:39.31. A good bit slower than Amber Hinton in the previous heat, but
yeah, how will the Glasgow coaching crew view that one? I think, will they think that she was too slow going out, and then obviously had a lot left in the tank at the back there, but they'll be delighted with the way she responded down this last length.
I wouldn't dare to comment. I would ask them. I wouldn't possibly dare.
Right.
But we had great support from the Glasgow contingent last night. Actually, they were super loud. Yeah, they'd be delighted. Anyway, Amy Rowell, I imagine we will see her in the final as well.
Yeah, I'm sure we will with that time to try and become National Age Group champion again. But she's going to have some stiff opposition from the swimmers that you've got on the list in front of you as well. Ava Smith of Geary in 0, Amber Niven of Carnegie in 1, Holly Warburton of Blackpool Aquatics in 2, Rebecca Reid of Warrender in 3, Cleo Houghton of West Lothian in 4, Kalila Smith of Aberdeen Dolphin in 5, Lula Milne of City of Glasgow in 6, Millie Searle of Geary in 7, Rebecca Mailing of Bellshill in 8, and Katie Aitchison of Warrender in lane 9. Cleo Houghton does her swimming down in Portsmouth area. Comes in with a 2:27.9. She actually swam a little bit faster than that recently at the Portsmouth meet, 2:27.5, and she's straight away into the lead here. So swimming when she comes up to Scotland with West Lothian is a Scot, and she is quite a long way clear of a line of swimmers behind her. So the fastest split from Amber Hinton was 34.78, so this is a good bit faster than that, 32.87.
Kalila won the Scottish Summer Meet last year in the age group that she was in, but it was an absolutely cracking start for her. Really interesting. Well, it was that Scottish Schools third in Scottish Schools, 2:38.48 her entry time.
Yep, so she is going well, but I think Cleo is now coming up alongside her in the blue cap of West Lothian. Then we've got a trio of swimmers, lanes 1, 2 and 3. Amber Niven, Holly Warburton, Rebecca Reid, all much for muchness, but now it is Cleo, 1:12.13, and that is about a second and a half faster than Amber Hinton's split. Rebecca Reid in second now. Well, that looks to me as though Kalila still was in second through the turn, and certainly is second going down the third heat, so obviously maybe the feet triggering the time for Kalila. But there's no doubt now Cleo just has been building and building as this race progresses, and she's now well clear the West Lothian swimmer. And we'll see whether she can knock on the door of her 2:27 entry time, 1:51.10. So now 4 seconds faster than we've seen. So that was 39, near enough. So another 39. And do the maths, you're talking about 2:30. So she won't be far away from her entry time here. And certainly is going to be the fastest qualifier for tonight's final. So nice close-up view of her as she comes down, 10 meters to go, and upping her stroke rate as she comes under the flags and in 2:29.09. It will be Kalila in second. Who's going to get third? This is pretty close, but I think it will be the Carnegie swimmer, Amber Niven, who just nudges third. We'll see whether that gets her into the final. I think it might do. Lula Milne was the 13-year-old, along with, well, a few of them actually. Looking down the list, Holly Warburton, I think the leading 13-year-old there, that time at 2:44.82 for the Blackpool swimmer. So I'm sure she'll be in that final. So I hope you've got a cup of tea to hand. Maybe,
that's outrageous.
Maybe a scone on a Friday afternoon for 2 heats of 1500 freestyle. There's your lineup for the first of them. So just go through that lineup. Yasin Hattab of Dumfries in 1, Ethan Pate of Finns in 2, Caleb Gray is Finn's teammate in 3, Finley Duffin of Warrender in 4, Jack Kevlahan of Ren 96 in 5, Julian Okroj of Delting in 6, and Blair Tetlow of Geary in lane 7. One 14-year-old, that's Finley Duffin, the Warrender swimmer. All the others are 13-year-olds. There'll be 2 more 13-year-olds in the second heat, so the top 13-year-old in this one is guaranteed a podium place.
Well, they're going out like it's 100. So it'll be interesting to see if they can hang on to that. Did we not have 3 heats of the 1500 free for girls on day 1?
I think we did, yes. What does that say about the enthusiasm of boys and girls to swim distance?
Well, I'm not sure what it says. I mean, I'm not sure what it says, actually. We'd have to ask our head coach, wouldn't we? But, yeah, so not quite 2 heats of the 11 to 14-year-old 1500 frees, but hey, we have got nearly 20 swimmers contesting for the medals. Have we got any 13-year-olds in the next heat? We've got 2. So the winner, or the fastest 13-year-old, should I say, in this heat, guaranteed a medal.
So 1:08.02, Finley Duffin at the 100s already. Second and a half up. And keep an eye on the 50 splits as well. You can see there 36.0 against 36.7 for the next fastest. And that is lane 6, Julian Okroj, the Delting swimmer, who at the moment is the leading 13-year-old. Finley is the 1 14-year-old in this heat.
Yeah, I always think it's a bit of a dilemma for meet organisers and meet managers. So we've got one 14-year-old in this heat, and we've got two 13-year-olds in the following heat. And we want to give our swimmers the best chance to get the best time that they can do. So we do seed by time, but actually for this race, it would be kind of nice to have the 13-year-olds all racing against each other and the 14-year-old in the next heat. This is just me pontificating.
It is a difficult one because you can see the other side of it, that they want to
Yeah.
race against swimmers with similar times to them, because otherwise you could get a procession with, particularly in the longer races, with huge gaps between the swimmers. So I can see it both ways, and I understand why
Yeah.
the organisers do it this way. We'll see how it works. It certainly makes it a little difficult for Finley here.
It also makes it more difficult for the commentators.
Oh, we're up for it, Lynn. We can handle it.
You might be Duncan.
2:25.98 then at 200. 39.1, so the pace just dropped back somewhat there into the 39s, and we'll see whether Finley continues to get away. It's getting reasonably interesting, the 13-year-olds. So Julian Okroj certainly had the fastest start, but up there now in lane 2 is the Finn swimmer Ethan Pate. So he is making a bit of a move. And of course, if he can get past Julian, that would guarantee him, as we said, that place on the podium. He is the East District champion in his age group. Finley Duffin, the bronze medalist at the East Districts in his age group, a year older. Julian Okroj, North District age group champion in his age group. So we've got swimmers who have some experience. In Ethan's case, it was a short course event, so that's quite different really from swimming at long course here in Aberdeen.
Yeah, we did have quite a few swimmers entered into the 1500, in fact the distance events in the North District age groups, and we're joined of course by the Midland District swimmers to give us more competition. We didn't, normally in the North District we would require an accredited time in order to enter a district championships, but we recognise that there is only limited opportunities to do that, and so the youngest swimmers in those distance events can enter with real times that don't have to necessarily have been achieved at level 1 and level 2 competitions, and Julian would have potentially taken advantage of that.
Another swimmer who is making a bit of a move is Jack Kivlahan in lane 5. So we've got an interesting three-way contest between the 13-year-olds here. Jack from Ren 96, West District short course champion. The West District run a short course championships in the autumn and then a long course championships in the spring, or winter I suppose. Jack, I don't think swam this in the long course event in East Kilbride, but he did swim it in Tollcross in short course, obviously very well. So that is definitely worth keeping an eye on, that three-way contest behind Finley as they come now towards 400 metres. Finley has been consistently pacing faster than the other three. Not far behind them as well in lane 1 is Yassin Hattab. So we have seen strong Dumfries swims in the distance events, so see whether Yassin can emulate them. That's interesting because Julian now is the fastest in the pool on that last 50. So we'll see whether that is maintained, because Finley, although he's got a decent lead in the context of a 1500, that's a relatively small lead. We saw some of the 1500s this morning where some fairly substantial leads were whittled away. You don't need to take too much off per length to work that lead back down. But this is fascinating with the 13-year-olds here, 4 of them, all very close. So Finley there, 40 point. You see, and that is slower than the swimmers behind him. So Jack now into second place, Ethan third, Yassin fourth. And all of these swimmers will fancy their chances. The Julian Okroj, who was leading the 13-year-olds, now has some work to do to try and stay with the other 3.
Yeah, through the first 100, it was very noticeable that Yassin went out and did his own thing, and the rest of the swimmers across the water actually looked almost quite frantic. It did, as I mentioned at the beginning, I thought it looked like 100, but Yassin did not go out as fast as that, and he was noticeably the one that was a little bit further back, and he may well have just not involved himself in that. So that would be good personal pacing and confidence that he would be able to bring it back at the end. But like you say, he's definitely pacing. Well, no, it's nothing between those four in second place, is it?
No. And in that last 50, Finley's pace was about the same as the swimmers behind him, so maybe realizing they just need to pick up the pace a little bit and see off these swimmers who are, it does look like they're closing the gap on him. Let's check on the splits here. 7:04.84. You see, that was a 40 point again. So again, he was slower than the swimmers behind him. All three of them under the 40 seconds. Yassin, in fact, the fastest on that 50. And he is looking strong there in the white cap of Dumfries. I think Dumfries can be very proud of their rising stars on distance swimming. And Yassin looking nice and comfortable, nice and relaxed, as you said, Lynn, just controlled when perhaps the others were a bit frantic. Beside him, Ethan Pate, still very much with him, and Jack Kilfillan still just ahead of them. There's quite a difference, it seems, Finley swimming down to the start end from him swimming back up again. It's almost as if he's swimming uphill and downhill.
Don't go there.
38.8 there. We'll see, there is a current in this pool, but of course it cancels out in the 1500. If it helps you one way, it hinders you the other. But you could see there that, well, there is not a huge gap now between first and second.
No, it was very brave going out in front there, but he is getting reeled in. It's not to say that they will necessarily catch him, but it does look as though he's being reeled in. I think it's Jack Kivlahan, Ren 96.
Yeah.
Looking pretty good. We've spoken before about the types of tactics that swimmers employ with regards to their pacing for the 1500, and very often you see the race swum in 500s, or it can be swum in two halves. But Jack Kivlahan definitely looks as though he's making a move through this second 500, second third of the race. So the gap now just a second and a half. Although Finley Duffin has also upped his pace, because we were seeing him repeat his 50s in about 40 seconds, and it's now 38 and a half.
It was still very much a four-way contest, though, in the context of this 1500. All four swimmers very much in the frame. This will be the halfway turn. So coming up to 9:40 as they come into shot through the turn. You see that number 15 on the lap cars. 9:42.22 is the halfway split. Still a lead of just over a second and a half, so 39s for both Finley and Jack. And then the two side by side now, Ethan and Yassin.
There's a lot of support there down on the pool side. Can you see there from Dumfries, all legging their swimmer on, who's closest to them, of course. We've not got a full lane worth. So in lane one, Yassin Hattab getting a lot of encouragement from his Dumfries teammates over here on the near side.
And that must help you, I would think, because if you'll be conscious of them supporting you, and that will spur you on. So nearly 2 seconds the gap now. Finley just got a couple of tenths on Jack in that last 50. So let's see if he can continue to open up that gap. 10:21.22 for him at the 800. So what are we looking at? 19 minutes 30-ish. Finley's entry time 19:19. So yeah, I think he'd be wanting to pick it up in the second half if he can. You can see there though, he's got Jack still trailing him, just hanging onto his toes. 11:01 and 11:03, and Ethan still just as, well, 1.7 back. And Yassin right there with him still.
Yes, you can see they're all pretty static and shouting on the way down, because he's breathing only to the right, so he can only see them when he's swimming up towards the turn end. that'll be fine for when it comes in towards the final 50, because he'll be able to see the swimmers, but he won't get the encouragement from his teammates. That was just a sneaky little look there.
Yeah, we saw a nice shot of Ethan Pate's coach, Ian Lewis, giving the hurry up to his man. Ethan Pate there sitting in 3rd place.
So since we went through the 600, the pacing's actually been pretty consistently around and about 119, ranging between 118 and a half and 119. So it's a pretty consistent pace, looking at a finishing time of around and about 19 and a half minutes.
So Finlay.
So we're just seeing hearing exactly the same thing being said in the in the arena.
Yep, so leads still around the 1.8. It's been very steady around that pace. You see there, 39.9, 39.7. Ethan Pate putting on a bit of sprint there, 39.2, and then you see him in that pale blue cap. He's just opened up a little bit of a gap over Yasin Hattab now. We'll see whether he can get in about Jack Kilflehen. At the moment, Jack is the one who's got the place on the podium, but still plenty of swimming to be done. Coming up to the 1,000 meters at this next turn. So once again, it will be Finlay. I think he has increased his lead a bit now. That was a 38.0, so that's a nice 50 there. 12:58.09. So we'll see whether he can start to ramp up the pace. So under the 118, is it, for that last one? So that is the fastest 100 he's done, I think.
Other than that first 100, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that is the strategy, steady as you go for the first 2/3 and then wind it up in the last 500. You talked about that splitting into 3 lots of 500. That might be Finlay's strategy here. Let's see what he does on this split, whether he can keep up those 38s. Well, 39, so not far away from it. And about the same pace as Jack in that one. So the crowd getting into it as well. Hurry up, keep going, move on. Come on. These swimmers need all the encouragement they can get.
Yeah, so Finlay racing really the clock. His entry time is the fastest one in this heat, 19:19. But he's got to lay down that marker for the second heat to come. We've got some very fast swimmers to come, and he just needs to do the best that he can to put himself up amongst them and improve his ranking. 14, 16, 35.
So back into the 118s. So slightly slower than the previous 100, but not much. Certainly looking now pretty much set, and it's increasingly looking like Jack for the leading 13-year-old here. He has gradually been moving away from Ethan Pate, and in turn he has been moving away from Yasin Hattab. So those 4, we've not really mentioned any of the other swimmers.
No, we mentioned Julian Okroj quite early on from Delting, but I mean there is a broad range of entry times into this heat, so it's not that surprising. Even if swimmers were to swim to their best times, there would still be some quite big gaps. Obviously, you've got to do it in the water.
Yes, you can see it is Caleb Gray who is turning 5th now, so he's gone past Julian Okroj, who's perhaps paying for that fairly fast start that he put in. There we're seeing the shot of Finlay, that distinctive Warrender cap. So 15, 35, 47.
So that time just drifted out just a little bit, and that could potentially be why Jack Kilflehen is looking a little bit closer. It's quite interesting though, when you look at the ages here, as we've spoken about before, it's age at the 31st of December for the year. So you could have swimmers swimming in a particular age group that are a long way behind. And Scottish swimming have tried to take advantage of that, or not to take advantage of it, to negate the advantage of that by introducing some relative age effect compensation for squad selections and things like that. Whereas, so if you're born in the second half of the year, then the times that there's a recognition for that, because we know that obviously as swimmers develop, particularly in these younger age groups, being born at the beginning of the year is quite often, not always, but quite often, an advantage. And we don't know the birth dates of these swimmers. We can only see the numbers that we've got, which is for the 31st of December.
Yes, of course you get swimmers who develop earlier and other swimmers who develop later, and you've got to be able to cater with both and give them all full opportunities to achieve their best that they can be. So we've got a 4-second gap now between Finley and Jack, and that looks to be quite enough to ensure that Finley will take the heat, but Jack well clear now of the other 13-year-olds, so he is certainly looking set for a place on the podium. The question with him is, will it be faster to get more than bronze? So looking at his time, entered in 1956, so you think he's going to be inside that fairly comfortably, maybe what, 1935 to 1940, something like that. Well, the other swimmers, the two 13-year-olds, are both under 19 minutes entry time, so unlikely you would say that he'll be more than bronze, but you never know. He'll have got the score on the door, to coin a phrase, and the others have to do it.
And we've got the bell coming up now, so just 2 lengths to go after hearing the bell. Nice shot there of the official ringing the bell. I think they tend to use whistles, don't they, down in England? Those bells are quite expensive and they lose their clappers.
Got
I like bells.
nice, secure, shiny bells now. I remember the days when the clapper would fall into the pool and
or even
narrowly
the
avoid the swimmer's head, but I don't think we're in that sort of position anymore, I'm glad to say.
No, or even the handle fell off and the whole bell would go in. I've seen turn cards, because obviously we have turn cards down at the turn end. I've seen them go into the bottom of the pool.
Of course, in some countries they dip them into the water, don't they, rather than have them up like we do, as you can see there with that number 1 just above the touchpad.
I think we should have electronic turn cards that are at the bottom of the pool to save swimmers from looking up. But,
I've not seen
one
that.
day maybe. No, I've not.
So here we go then. Finley Duffin has worked his socks off through this one. The clock just going into the 1910s now. He's got not too far to go. There's the 15-meter markers. So he's going to come in just a bit over the 1920s. So he's pushed it well in the second half here. He's not going to be far away from his entry time at all. Comes in 19:25.48. Of course, you don't know, that might well have been a short course conversion that time, and it's always difficult to emulate a short course conversion in these longer events. So coming in second, very nice time for Jack Kivlin, 19:31.41. So that is some 25 seconds inside his entry time. Ethan Pate, 19:40 for him, so that's another big PB, 40 seconds. Yasin as well, he was entered 20:34, so what's that? Quite a big one, 47 seconds, I think, if my maths is right.
Big number, a big number. That was a fairly rapid last 100 there for Finley, 1:14 for his last 100.
Caleb Gray, 36.9 on his last 50 as well, 19:50, so he's also comfortably inside his end time, over 20 seconds. Julian, we talked about him, he finished his strongly out with that 36.0, so inside his entry time as well, 20:15 against the 2019 entry time, and the final swimmer making his way in, that is Blair Tetlow. So probably not his day today. We saw some good swims from Blair earlier, but not today in the 1500. He's got into the final 5, and he will complete heat number 1 in 20:53.
Good race. Just the one more. So heat 2 then. In lane 0 we have Jasper Broom representing South Ayrshire. In lane 1, Charlie Braid from Ren 96. Lane 2 sees Andrew Patterson swimming for City of Glasgow. Lane 3, Alexander Brown from Alnwick. In lane 4, Nikolai Sisnett, City of Glasgow. In lane 5, Aidan Anderson, Aberdeen Dolphin. In 6, Aaron Machin, City of Glasgow. In lane 7, Blake Herdman, Inverclyde. Lane 8, Samuel Ruff from City of Glasgow. And in lane 9, Billy Trapp, Mount Kelly. Nikolai Sisnett with a cracking start there. His entry time was not that far ahead of Aidan Anderson in lane 5. Aberdeen Dolphin swimmer. I've got Annick. My mum is from Newcastle, and her family around Morpeth area. But she used to be very friendly with a Japanese lady who was fascinated by the English language, and said, "Right, tell me about this place then. Alnwick. Do you miss out the L or do you miss out the W when you're pronouncing it?" And my mum says, "Oh, both." So she was wondering whether it was Olnick or Anwick. She said, "Nope, you missed them both out." So the vagaries, if you like, of the English language, isn't it? So first 100 then done and dusted for Nikolai Sisnett, 104.48, and looking very comfortable.
Yeah, but he always looks comfortable, doesn't he, in his swims?
I saw his 200 fly yesterday.
He's up by a body length from lane 3. Alexander Brown of Alnwick, or Alwick, or Annick. Let's call it Annick. Yeah. We've seen Annick swimmers quite a few times up in Scotland. It's always great to see them. Of course, near neighbours of the Morpeth team. So 139.7, 140.6. Sisnett and Brown, and then behind them it is Aidan Anderson of Aberdeen Dolphin, and these three now have pulled away pretty early on from that group of 4 or 5 really, if you include lane 0, Jasper Broom in the contest behind them. So Nikolai will be looking for nice consistent pacing here. So 35.0 there as he goes through 200. They are considerably faster than the first heat. 11 seconds at the 200 mark. And you can see there a reasonably sizable gap now starting to build, and it's continuing to build. So it's around about a second and a half at the 200 mark. Nikolai won this event at the Scottish Summer Meet. He was second in this event in the National Championships last year. I'm not sure who won the gold, because whoever it was, they're not swimming here this year. Aaron Machin was the bronze. Aidan Anderson was 4th last year. And Alexander Brown, I don't think was here. He swam his 1811 at the Northumberland and Durham County Championships, where he was a silver medalist in his age group. And he is certainly looking pretty strong here. He is a Scot. And we'll see whether he can stay close to Nikolai. So pacing about half a second behind on that pace in that last 50. So 3:25.65 for Nikolai, 3:28 for Alexander.
So I wonder what Nikolai's strategy is. I mean, he's so good at so many of the different events that it'd be interesting to know if he's going to be going as hard as he can on this. It's probably his best opportunity to post a good time in the 15 metres. 15 metres. That would be nice, wouldn't it, in the 1500. But I wonder what his coach's plans are for him with that one. So 110, still very consistent with what we saw in the previous 100.
I'd have thought he'd want to push it out pretty hard here, because he has got a reasonable amount of recovery time before his final tonight. And I think he's just got the one final, hasn't he, tonight? Or has he got 2? I can't remember. Did he do the 53?
I don't think he did.
No, of course, because it's...
Well, he is 14.
Yes, he is 14. Let's see if he did it.
Well, he didn't do the 100 breaststroke.
No, he didn't. He didn't do the 53. So he's just got the
200 back.
this one and the 200 back. So just the one final tonight. So I would imagine that would give him time to really push out, and he had some reasonable recovery time after that 200 back to prepare for this one, so why not give it your all? And he's certainly maintaining a steady pace here. So what are we looking at in terms of time? 1740s.
There or thereabouts.
He's entered 1743, so he's in that sort of zone. So you can see 35.9, so consistently pacing faster than the ones behind him. And it does look like Aidan Anderson is closing in on Alexander Brown now. So keep an eye on that one as well. Also need to keep an eye on the two 13-year-olds. That are Charlie Braid in lane 1 and Samuel Ruff in lane 8. So we don't see either of them on the shot at the moment. I can tell you that at the last turns, well, we'll see them as they go through this next turn, how they go. So Cisnet, Brown and Anderson, the 1, 2, 3, 5:48.88 for Nikolai. Then 4th place Andrew Patterson, 5th Aaron Machin, so all the 14-year-olds. Then we got Charlie Braid, 6:07. So looking at that, that is quite a bit faster than the first heat, so he is looking good. Then we've got lane Jasper Broom behind him. And after that, Samuel Ruff on a 6:19. So that also is faster than the previous heat. So it does look like the two 13-year-olds are ahead of Jack Kivlahan's time. But if we focus back on what's going on at the front of the race, Nikolai pretty secure at the front there as we see him coming up to 600 meters. Through he goes just on the 7 minutes, 6:59.99, and well, we're not really getting a shot of them at the moment, but there you go, you can see the two behind them very close indeed, and for the first time now it's Aidan Anderson who's just passed Alexander Brown as into second place. So at the moment that's your top three, with Alexander just behind Aidan now. So they're going to have a good scrap, you would think, for the remainder of this race. We'll see whether Alexander can stay with Aidan, as he just obviously has the slightly faster pacing at the moment. You see there 36.1 against 36.6. In fact, they're on a pacing pretty much the same as Nikolai now. But you can see they are, what, 10 meters or so back. We'll see whether Aidan's certainly looking pretty strong there in lane 5. Nice relaxed stroke. Looks like he could keep going like that for a good long time.
Yeah, so he's opened up a body length and a half over the last 100. That's Nikolai going through there in 8:11.65. So he's keeping a consistent pace. He had a couple of 110s and now he's swimming through on 111s. We can see that on the splits from the 50s, but he still looks pretty smooth out in front, whereas Aidan Anderson looks like he's working quite hard to try and catch him.
Yeah, but showing nice technique, nice and smooth still. It's not, sometimes when they get really tired, the stroke starts to get a bit ragged, and that's certainly not happening here. So that's the halfway split there, 750 meters, 8:47.61. So just to put that into context, Finlay Duffin was 9:42 at the halfway mark, so nearly a minute faster here for Nikolai.
Interesting. I was just looking at the swimmer in lane 8, the City of Glasgow 13-year-old. Looks as though he's kicking much harder than I noticed before. That might just be deception, but he was behind Billy Trapp in lane 9, and he's now moved ahead of him. But Nikolai still looking really easy out in front. I'm sure it's not. 9:23.18.
So you can see there, 13 lengths to go. These swimmers as they come up, and there's Nikolai going through just under the 10 minutes at 850 meters, a 36.0 there. Hayden also a 36.0, so that gap's staying pretty steady. And just a bit over 5 seconds. It looks a lot. I suppose it is quite a lot, really. In theory, it is closable, but you've got to start going consistently faster than Nikolai, and that is a huge ask for go faster than a talent like Nikolai. 10:34 at 900. So around about 111.5 pacing, 35.6, 35.7. So again, very similar splits. And Aiden is now well clear of Alexander Brown. So he is increasingly looking set for the silver medal here. Still got over 500 meters to try and close the gap on Nikolai. The difference in their entry times is only around 4 seconds. It's more than that in the pool at the moment. And another 4/10 added to the lead by Nikolai.
I love the way when we're looking around the pool side, there's still quite a lot of people here. There's no relays or anything like that at the end of this session. So there's still a lot of support for these swimmers swimming the 1500s. I can see the Aberdeen Dolphin swimmers and coaches over on the far side urging Aiden on. And he does look as though he's working quite hard.
Yeah, because the good news is, of course, all of these teams and all of the parents as well are here for the duration. They'll be back swimming tomorrow, and a lot of them coming swimming tonight as well. So no reason to go anywhere. Go and support your teammates.
There's a slight quickening of the pace there. Right on 111 there for Nikolai over that last 100. And third, Alexander Brown still. And Andrew Patterson in fourth place just now, another City of Glasgow swimmer.
Yeah, so still Alexander looking fairly secure for the bronze. You'd have to say it's got a good margin over Andrew Patterson in fourth place. So I think we pretty much know our medalists now. In the 13-year-olds, it's certainly looking good for Charlie Braid. He has had silvers, so this would be a first gold for him, so that would be excellent for the youngster from Ren 96. There we go, at 1100, 12:57.20. So still very consistent on the 111 and change.
There's a good little race going on though in lanes 8 and 9, Samuel Ruff and Billy Trapp. Billy Trapp.
Yeah, Billy Trapp, another one that's come from south of the border, Mount Kelly College, another Scot. He did his time at the Plymouth Leander meet, so quite a long way away from here. Down in Plymouth, he was up here last year, was 6th, and 6th as well in the Scottish Summer Meet. So Billy has been quite a regular visitor up to Aberdeen in the last year. Great for him to make the long trip up from Mount Kelly in Devon. Of course, Easter holidays at the moment, so who knows where he lives with Mount Kelly, I think mainly boarding.
I don't know. I mean, I know that we've got the summer holidays here, the Easter holidays in Scotland, and certainly around Aberdeen we're in the Easter holidays. So swimmers being able to come and enjoy 5 days of swimming without missing any school. I'm not sure when I mean, obviously Easter is still the same in England, but I don't know where the holidays are.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, my grandchildren are in England based, and they're all on holiday still this week. So
good stuff.
I would imagine that these guys who have come up are doing it as part of their Easter break. So Nikolai then, the only swimmer in your shot there, apart from the ones that he's about to lap, that race that you were talking about, Samuel and Billy there in lanes 8 and 9. So Nikolai 14.44 gets 14.53, so 8.5 seconds the gap now. So that gap has been gradually growing in the second half. Nikolai just he used the phrase metronomic this morning, and it is just very, I mean, it almost looks like a swim down, doesn't it? But it's not, of course. He is putting a lot of power into those strokes, but it's so smooth and easy. Absolutely no splash coming in at all. 15, 20, 46. So we're getting to the closing stages now. So what will be his strategy for the close here? Will he be looking to ramp it up, or will he be saying, job done, got my gold, let's just ease my way in?
No, well, I mean, we don't know whether he's been working as hard as he possibly could throughout the race. His stroke's fascinating. You can see that he almost catches up. I mean, really nearly catches up with his stroke in front, every single stroke that he does. Quite different from the stroke that Aidan Anderson has got, which is much more windmilly-like, if you like. I mean, it's not a windmill at all, but he's not catching up his stroke at all. Nikolai, you can see, he almost looks as though he's touching his hands in front. That helps to extend your body and make a long body, long ships move faster, and he's a very long body to start with. But he still looks extremely comfortable, and I think we're coming in towards the bell just now. Looking at a time, as you say, almost exactly around his entry time. So if he has reserved a little bit of energy, he'll be able to go under that with a fast final 100.
So there goes the bell for Nikolai, 16:32.98. So what's that, a 1:12.5 roughly for his penultimate 100 now. So we'll see how much he does ramp that up in this final 100. Aidan there, turning in second, 16:41. And Alexander will be coming up now, not in shot, but he's going through his 100. You can hear the bell going there, 16:58 for him. But final turn coming up for Nikolai Cisnet. And there he goes. Must love seeing that number one up there, 17:08.42. So 35.4. Do they want them swimmers to move on? Oh, look at that, the tension in the... never mind the athletes, it's the spectators you feel for. Here we go then. Down the final length. 15 to go at those markers.
Yeah, not quite so much of a catch-up, so I think that he is working hard down this last length. Good stuff, but Aidan Anderson is really giving it big wellies, just out of shot. He's
There
really
he
working hard.
Yep.
Well done, Nikolai. So
17:43.01, so 3/10 inside his entry time. So swims for just shy of 18 minutes for a 3/10 PB. Aidan Anderson, 17:50 for him, so that is just a touch outside his entry time. Here comes Alexander Brown. So his entry time 18:11. Let's see what he comes in on. He's be inside that. Yes, he is. 18:09.42. So that will be your 1, 2, 3 in the 14-year-olds. See Andrew Patterson next in 18:15. So that's a big PB for him. Entered on 18:40. So well done, Andrew. Next home in lane 6 there, Aaron Machin, 18:27, also inside his entry time.
and here's the first of our 13-year-olds.
Yep. And there he comes, Charlie Braid there, 18:37. So that was a nice swim from him, 13 seconds inside his entry time. Another one who swims for Ren 96 but comes from the south, who's swum in the Kent Championships. And Jasper Brune. Next, then Blake Herbman. And Samuel Ruff there, 19:02, so that will give him the silver medal in the 13 age group. Samuel entered 18:56, so just a little bit outside that, 19:02. And then Billy Trapp, and he does improve on his entry time. He came in on a 19:19, takes that down to 19:08. So 11 seconds is not to be sniffed at. So well done to all the guys, most of them PBs there. And I think we know our medalists, so Charlie Braid, Samuel Ruff and Jack Kivlahan in the 13-year-old age group, and Nikolai Cisnet, Aidan Anderson Alexander Brown in the 14-year-old age group. So we will be getting the presentations for those swimmers
Is
very
it
soon.
Anthony delivering the medals?
The medalists should be Nicholas, isn't it? Hayden Anderson.
Not sure if he's there to take photographs or to present medals.
He is going to be doing the medal presentation, so
Jolly good.
he can be pretty happy with how his distance swimmers are progressing this week. And it will take them a little while to just get themselves sorted before we go to our presentation, so bear with us just for a moment. We do want to hang on and see these athletes get their medals. The Just for Work award for some really hard work. So
I think we're nearly ready, but what are you looking forward to this evening then, Duncan, from this afternoon's heats? I'm particularly looking forward to that 53, I think.
Yep.
Really interested to see how quick Lily Mundell can go.
Yeah, and that contest, I think, in the male and open 53 as well, I think, because we talked about that there are 4 swimmers very, very close. So
yes,
that one
will be a close one.
It will be very much, I think, who's got it at the time, who can just absolutely nail their start, get into their race quick, and manage their finish well. So these 3 components on a 50, all as important as each other, and they've got to get everyone right. The breaststroke is also going to be very interesting, I think, for the male and opens, with Rory Vick looking for the double in the 14-year-old age group. So I think that one is going to be good. And Brogan Smith will be trying to do the same in the 13-year-old age group, the Glen Rothers swimmer. So that's going to be a good one. Then we've got the 200 flyers. So pretty much all of them, really.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm quite. Yes, I mentioned the 53, but it was just that was a memorable one for me. But yes, lots of exciting racing this evening, and of course the older swimmers from this morning as well.
God, these boys look young, don't they? But they've done the hard work, and congratulations to them. So your bronze medalist, 13-year-old from Ren 96, Jack Kivlahan. Anthony Ryan, as I said, the freeze coach, making the presentations here. And the annex swimmer, Alexander Brown, taking the bronze. For the 14-year-olds, here are the silver medalists. City of Glasgow's Samuel Ruff takes the silver in the 13 age group, and it's the Dolphin swimmer, Aidan Anderson, for the 14-year-olds, and your gold medalist and national champions, Charlie Braid. So his first gold medal of the weekend. Oh, is he pleased? I think he's pleased.
I'm pleased for him.
Nikolai says that, yeah, he's been here before, but he still looks quietly pleased with himself, I think, as well.
Yes, that's the long one done, dusted and out of the way. I'm sure that there's an element of relief in there, but yes, he does look delighted.
Yeah. Let's not be too demonstrative about it.
No.
So that's it for this afternoon.
Thoroughly enjoyed that. Thank you very much, Duncan. Really good.
Enjoying session. Yes, we'll be back at 5:10 for our 3rd night of finals. But for now, from me, Duncan McKinnell, and from
me, Lynn Alderton. Thank you very much, Duncan, and thank you.
Good night. Good night. Good afternoon.
Good
to
night
you.
from me, and good night from. Oh, I can't remember how it works.
Anyway, good afternoon.